welcome back to the 21 British Languages podcast, where language learning meets real life. I'm your host, Andrea Wilson, and today's episode is for every parent who has heard the words, I hate Spanish. I have been tutoring for about going on 12 years, and I would say 80% of the students who come through my virtual doors have said they hate Spanish or have the attitude as if they do. Um, but it's not easy to hear that when you're a parent and you want your child to be bilingual because you know Spanish matters, but you also don't want every homework night to turn into a battle. And more often than not, it has become a battle for a lot of you parents out there. So, this episode is about emotional and motivational support that our students need, and what to say, what not to say, and how to respond in a way that keeps the door to bilingualism still open instead of slamming it shut. So, what you say, um, or how about this? What does it actually mean when your child says, I hate Spanish? So, to me, as a tutor, when I hear a student say they hate Spanish, they're almost never talking about the language in itself. What they're usually saying is they feel dumb, they feel embarrassed, they don't understand what's going on, or they're tired of feeling behind. I've never had a student that's passing Spanish with a B or above say they hate the language. Language learning is very emotional because it puts students in a very vulnerable position, especially in private school settings where expectations are high and support is really limited. So, as a parent, this is what you don't say. You want to avoid phrases like, well, you'll thank me later. You don't have a choice. Everyone has to do hard things. You're just not trying. And Spanish isn't even that hard. Even those these are said with good intentions, all our kiddos hear is your feelings don't matter. And when we dismiss feelings, the motivation shuts down even more. So here's what you can say when your child comes to you and says that they hate Spanish. Validate. I can see that Spanish feels very frustrating right now. I like this phrase because it doesn't mean you agree with them, but rather it means that you understand them. Here's another phrase that I've used, and it separates the effort from the identity. Struggling with Spanish doesn't mean you're bad at it, it just means you're learning. I love this phrase because it normalizes learning and normalizes that learning means that sometimes things are challenging, but it doesn't mean that people are bad at it. You can be challenged by something but not bad at it. Another phrase I like is every language learner feels uncomfortable at first. That's part of the process, but that doesn't mean you should quit. Normalize discomfort. I think in this day and age, we're so used to instant gratification that we don't realize to get to where you want to go in life or where you need to go in life, it requires discomfort. And there's really no way around it. More often than not, I'm seeing that students are tired and burnt out from working so hard, and they feel as though because they put in all these hours of work, they should be having an A student. They should be an student. They should have A's. But sometimes you work hard at something not because you'll get an A, but because it just builds the character, and the journey along the way transforms you into a better person. So here's another phrase I like. What feels hardest right now? Your test, your homework, or is it speaking? As a tutor, I'm always asking this because it puts me into collaboration mode with all of my students. If my student says, you know what, it's just the test, I know I can help with that. If it's homework, I can help with that. If it's speaking, I can help with that. But when you as a parent are asking that, it teaches your student that I'm going to be able to get you the help that you need so that this part of of your academic career is successful. So these phrases really do give our teenagers, middle school students, a voice without giving up any structure. You know, I don't think parents hear this enough, but your child actually borrows your calm when they don't have it their own. So, and it's been that way since they were born if you think about it. When your child is crying and you remain calm, your child feeds off of that energy. And so when your child likewise is not doing that well in the subject, but you're calm, it's very reassuring. And I find that with my parents, when I'm calm, when they tell me that their child is failing, my calm centers them and influences them to be calm. So it's the same synergy we want to have with our students and with your child. If you respond with panic, pressure, frustration, the message becomes this is way too big to handle, and then they fear failure even more. But when you respond with steadiness and support, the message becomes we can figure this out together. And that's more than likely the tone that I take when I'm tutoring my students. The emotional safety keeps our youth engaged, even when they're resistant. So we have to keep the long game in mind. You're not trying to force your child to love Spanish today. You're trying to prevent them from closing the door permanently. And sometimes the win is not enthusiasm, it's just tolerance. Sometimes it's not fluency, it's just consistency. And sometimes it's simply making sure Spanish doesn't become a source of shame for our youth. It took me about 11 or 12 years to truly become fluent in Spanish. And I say that with a lot of pride because it wasn't although it wasn't a overnight success for me, I stayed very consistent and I became more disciplined. So, if you're navigating resistance, frustration, or burnout around your youth taking Spanish, you do not have to do it alone. We have two options for you. We have the 21 Bridges membership, which was created for parents exactly like you, mothers or fathers who are managing their child's education and need ongoing support, clear guidance, practical tools. Inside the membership, you'll find step-by-step parent guides, scripts for communicating with teachers, study routines that reduce conflict, and resources that support Spanish without overwhelming your student. We have notes on every topic your child will be learning from Spanish 1 all the way to Spanish 3. You can learn more and join us in this membership at 21bridges.us. Also, our tutoring doors are open. You can visit www.21bridges.us, click the Learn More button at the top, check out our tutoring page, and register for tutoring. Thank you so much for listening to 21 Bridges Languages podcast. If today's episode really resonated with you, share it with another parent who might need encouragement. Next time, we'll talk about what to do when you want bilingualism more than your child does, and how to navigate that without constant power struggles. Until then, your calm, your words, and your support matter more than you realize.